And the debate over illegal immigration has taken a religious turn, with a growing number of Christian conservative groups telling Congress and the president to reach a compromise on this divisive issue. Some of the proposals being suggested by these groups include the highly controversial idea of amnesty for illegal immigrants already living here. But they also say it's time to eliminate birthright citizenship, which allows for the child of an illegal immigrant born in the U.S. to become a U.S. citizen. Joining us to talk about it are Manny Miranda, chairman of the Third Branch Conference, and Dan Stein, executive director of the Federation for American Immigration Reform. Welcome to both of you.
Good to be here.
Manny, your help leading up this group. It's on the front page of the Washington Times here in our nation's capital. Tell us what you're proposing.
Well, what we're really proposing is for the White House to invite a start over, inviting more people to the table and to address more ideas, and for the Congress to slow down a bit, have oversight of the administration with regard to their enforcement of the laws, have hearings, and again, invite greater participation and more ideas to flesh out a fully coherent immigration reform and not one that's wedded to particular Band-Aid solutions.
But Manny, why religious groups? Why are they getting involved in this?
Well, I think that a number of groups, and it's not just religious groups, I'd say it's the family movement, the part of the conservative movement as well, Catholics and Jews, as well as evangelical leaders, have for a long time, I think, been resistant or not invited into the rhetoric, not comfortable with the rhetoric of the immigration debate, and certainly not comfortable with the solutions that were raised early on. We sort of were painted into a corner where none of the solutions were right for a number of folks who think in principle and who want to achieve the right thing for the country, but also be charitable.
Dan, what about this proposal that Manny and others are putting forward, this sort of compromise, which would allow essentially amnesty for the 12 to 20 million illegal immigrants in this country who have a relative that's a U.S. citizen, in other words, like a baby born here? Is that the right way to go?
I haven't seen the proposal or the specifics of this. It was only put out as a news piece in the Washington Times this morning. But if Richard Viguerie is signed on to the idea of a mass amnesty for millions of illegal aliens, I would be very surprised. But whatever this group is doing, clearly they're proposing something radically different than what the Senate did last year. I mean, there is no support for mass amnesty among the base of the Republican Party. And I think what everybody who supports, fair side of the issue is that we want to see credibility and legitimacy restored to the rule of law and the immigration process, and we want to eliminate the process of chain immigration whereby family members petition distant relatives and the numbers continue to grow. And the idea that amnesty should drive this debate, what do we do with the people here illegally, is the wrong question. The right question is, how do we restore, through employer sanctions, worksite enforcement, document security, interior enforcement, detention, deportation? We know what all the solutions are. What we lack in this country is the resolve to take on the big money special interests that are using immigration to control wage growth nationally.
Well, Manny, let me ask you, because one of the interesting things about your proposal is you say, yeah, let's grant amnesty to 12 to 20 million Americans, but then at the same time, let's end birthright citizenship. But that's part of the 14th Amendment, which says all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States. You don't honestly think you're going to be able to change the Constitution?
Well, Nora, let's correct the record on a few things. First of all, we're not proposing an amnesty. That was something that was the word that was used in the Washington Times article. We are not proposing an amnesty. We are proposing a compromise solution, something that will achieve a coherent immigration reform. And what we are rejecting are the two extremes that either would offer us open borders, which is not going to happen, or who are asking for enforcement only, which is also not going to happen. But to your question, so it's not a matter of an amnesty, it is a matter of reaching a compromise solution that is thoughtful and coherent and rejects the language of the extremes. But to your question with regard to the Constitution, it's actually incorrect that birthright citizenship is in the Constitution. It is not in the Constitution. That interpretation relies on a series of cases which have been misinterpreted. And all that we are asking is for the birthright citizenship issue to be addressed by the Congress. It never has been. And if it needs to rise to the Supreme Court, let it rise so that we can have a settlement of that issue.
All right. Manny Miranda and Dan Stein, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.